Hey guys, Tower Climber here, and today I'm bringing you another Tower God Explained video. In this video, we'll be explaining all of Jahad's empire. And I feel like this is going to be a very fun video because there's a lot of information that a lot of people don't know or get mixed up about the empire. So give me this amount of time to explain every single facet of Jahad's empire to all of you. And without further ado, let's start the video. Jahad's overall empire is actually a way bigger group made up of many other factions that make up the overall empire. There are, from what we know, three main branches of this empire: the Jahad family, Jahad's army, and Jahad's altar. In this video, I'm going to explain every single one of these factions separately to make the overall flow of this video make a lot more sense to you all. Before I get into all these groups separately, let me talk about the empire as a whole. Of course, the person at the top of this empire is the king of the tower and the ruler of the 134th floor of the tower, King Jahad. And the crest of this empire, alongside all the other factions I mentioned earlier, is the three-eyed symbol of Jahad. Up until the recent events of the story, Jahad has been inactive in the tower, and the highest ruling body of the tower are known as the Three Lords. There is only one of the Lords active as the main ruler at any given time. They take turns every 100 years or so. The first of these lords that I'm going to cover is Yo-Chun. Of the three, Yo-Chun is known as a progressive lord who strongly asserts the advancements to the next floor of the tower. Because of his love for alcohol, he was named Yo-Chun, which means alcoholic river. His real name is Ari Chun. He's the son of Ari Han and a mother who is native to the tower, but his mother died when she gave birth to him. There are also many rumors in the tower that he is drinking buddies with Yurik Mizuno, but this is still not fully confirmed in the tower. The next lord I'm going to talk about is Flux the Magician. He is the first disciple of Mixeth and one of the fathers of the workshop. Like all the other fathers of the workshop, Flux is an artificial organism created by Mixeth. However, no one but Mixeth has seen his real self. Only the illusion he creates appear here and there in the tower. He is one of three people that we know of that own the strongest lighthouse in the tower, the Opera, hinting that he is most likely a light bearer. Last but not least is Malik 1 PGR. He is the eldest and strongest out of the three lords and is ranked 12th overall in the tower. He is actually the lord currently in power. His name, Malik 1, comes from the Malik region that he lived in, and it means the absolute lord of Malik. As his name implies, he was once the absolute ruler of the Malik region, and under the settlement of Jahad, he became one of the three lords. After he became a lord, Malik faithfully performed the duties of a lord, and unlike his old times, he carries the image of a benign and generous ruler. But during the meeting of rulers, he occasionally shows a charisma and power that overwhelms all the other rulers. Although said to be a powerful warrior that Jahad himself could not take lightly in a fight, as its ancient history, most of the records were lost. Wielding his giant halberd, it is said that he was able to fulfill the role of all positions. However, to say it was not that he performed the role of every position, but rather that he fought without any regards to what a position was, seems to be more accurate. In ruling power under the three lords are the rulers of the tower, who are the overlords of a floor in the tower. Rulers gain the authority to rule a floor with the permission and consent of the administrators. Since most of the floors were conquered by Jahad and the 10 great families, it can be inferred that almost every ruler is affiliated with the Jahad Empire. The rulers can gather for a rulers' conference alongside the three lords. The frequency of these meetings and what is discussed during this conference is unknown. It's also unknown if the king is present during the conference of rulers, since he himself technically would be a ruler of the top floor of the tower. Currently, there's only two rulers who are not from the 10 great families, and those are Evankel of the 2nd floor and Baekryun of the 77th floor. Although now in the current story, Evankel is no longer a ruler of her floor. Now let us get into the separate factions I mentioned before, with the first being the Jahad family, which consists of course, Jahad as the head of the family and the princesses of Jahad who are adopted into the family. They are always selected out of the best female warriors from either the 10 great families or outside of them. They are then given the blood of Jahad, since Jahad can't actually have children of his own due to his blood being too powerful. But even with a little bit of the king's blood, the princesses are considered the ultimate species of the tower, having strength that even overshadows the 10 great family members. The princesses are also given the right to call Jahad their father. The family also has their assassins that work for them, known as Red or the Royal Enforcement Division. Even though they are part of the Jahad family, they do not get to call Jahad father or get the Jahad surname like the princesses. The Royal Enforcement Division serves Jahad and no one else. However, most of them feel no loyalty to Jahad. This is because most of them join for the thrill of battle or political gain instead of a mere obligation to the king himself. Their purpose is to be the swords for the king that are meant to take out threats or regrets of the Jahad family. An example being Anak Jahad Jr., since it's forbidden for princesses to have kids. Now, let us get into the royal guard of the Jahad family. The captain of the royal guards is Adori Jahad, and the strongest active princess of Jahad in the tower. The royal guards are an organization made up of rankers who serve under Jahad and are assumed to guard and protect any important places or people who are affiliated or belong to the Jahad family, such as the princesses. According to the rules, if a person of a higher rank gives them an order, they are not allowed to refuse. Their name itself indicates that they serve the Jahad family specifically, and the Royal Enforcement Division likely serve Jahad directly, that being the main difference between the two groups. They were able to put up some resistance to Ha-Yuri Jahad, which means they are most likely powerful enough to be rankers, although the average member is probably nowhere near the level of a high ranker, seeing as the princess Yuri Jahad was able to defeat a group of them without much trouble. They are actually pretty special in that the royal guards are taught how to use the Ari family's special swordsmanship. In the Jahad family, there also seems to be a faction of royal guides. It's led by Evan Edrock, who occupies the position of chief guide of the Jahad royalty. It is worthy to note that guides cannot be owned like some type of slaves in the tower, yet any princess of Jahad is entitled to a guide upon becoming a ranker, thanks to a contract of the Jahad family that guides made alongside them. Now let's get into the Jahad army. The commander-in-chief of the whole army is also Adori Jahad, and there are at least 5 known squadrons. We have only seen the 4th and 5th ones in the actual story itself. The leaders of a squadron are known as squadron commanders. So far, we have seen 3 in the story, that being Calavan, Yasaracha, and Liboric. Then the rankings go down from there to division commanders who command a certain division in the squadron, vice squadron commanders and vice division commanders, and so on. King Jahad's army contains the largest amount of high rankers, and even regulars, which easily makes it the biggest and most dominant army in the entire tower. The army has never failed in any operation carried out directly by a squadron commander. They also have the power to avoid rules if necessary to complete their operation with the floor administrator's permission. Because the army has never failed in any given mission, the consequences and punishments are currently unknown. Some of the members of the army are actually worried about the consequences, which probably includes execution for failure. Fun fact, Jahad's army is largely inspired from the Republic of Korea army. Despite SIU's background in the Navy and the army's using floating ships, SIU uses terminology associated with the army, not the Navy or Air Force, making it distinctively a land army. SIU for a long time avoids using real-life ranks for the army, choosing to use more descriptive job titles of ex-commander, but that changed in part 3, where SIU for the first time described people having certain ranks. First was Calavan, who was described as a staff sergeant during his time being demoted, and an unnamed female officer was introduced as a lieutenant colonel. Both of these characters seem to be in non-commander roles, which may be the reason why SIU chose to introduce them with ordinary ranks. It is unknown whether the commanders also hold a proper rank inside the hierarchy, but with the confirmation that these ranks do exist in Jahad's army, they most likely do have a rank in addition to their title of commander. However, of course, combat is a lot different in Tower God compared to real life, so how much is translated directly from the Korean army to Jahad's army is unknown. It has also been mentioned, interestingly, by SIU that there is a military police, just like in our world, but nothing is known about them so far in the story, and we're probably never going to see them. They may just act like a police force in our world for certain areas on a floor instead of a full-on army that will probably deal with bigger threats. Now getting into the final faction of Jahad's army, Jahad's altar. It's an organization devoting to praising Jahad as a god. They also serve as the enforcer of the laws and Jahad's order. They are pretty mobile overall and can support Jahad's army in executing the Imperial orders of Jahad. The altar is maintained by several priests, being led by the high priest. This organization will also receive 3 orders. These orders are directly from Jahad himself and will contain 3 different orders. If one of the orders is completed, the rest are null and void. This gives the servants of Jahad an option of how they want to shape the future of the tower, because of course Jahad can see the different possible futures with his powers to see fate. These orders then have to be relayed to all the other factions of Jahad's army we have already talked about in this video. Finally, let's end this video by talking about some groups that currently the Empire has bad relationships with, such as Wokhai Song. It's an organization whose liberal movement sometimes clashes with the Empire's conservative practices. It is led by Yurik Mizuno and Baekri Yoon, and their goal is to find a way out of the tower itself. The influence of Wokhai Song is quite large, of course, since they have Yurik Mizuno and all this stuff, and they own a whole floor of the tower, being the 77th floor. It is not equivalent to that of the 10 Great Families, as Gusting has told Mizuno in the Floor of Death arc. The second group is known as Fug, the most dangerous and secretive criminal group in the tower, led by Grace Mircea Luslek. Fug is often compared to Wokhai Song because of their opposition to the 10 Great Families. However, whereas Wokhai Song is an organization centered around several members, Fug is more of an organization centered around a single faith, to kill Jahad and the heads of the 10 Great Families. The 10 Great Families forbid anyone within their families to enter Fug, and they consider it as an important duty to eliminate their members, who are known to hide within the shadows of the middle area of the tower. Despite its dangerous status, it does not mean they hold enough influence to actually challenge Jahad and the 10 Great Families, because as long as the 10 Great Family heads hold the contracts they made with the administrators, Fug's influence cannot overcome the 10 Great Families because they are immortal. And the most recent group against the status quo of the tower is known as Revolution, an organization in the tower that consists of many members from many 10 Great Families and other organizations. Its purpose is to destroy the 10 Great Families and create something new in their place by becoming the new rulers of the tower. So far from what we have seen in the story, the leader of this group seems to be the boss. Although, as noted by Yule, there exists the possibility of multiple bosses existing, as he felt that the individual who gave him the orders to test bomb and the individual who ordered him to deliver a message to Doan were 2 separate people. This seems to hint that there are more than one leader of this group, and they all share the name of the boss. Revolution is quite closely tied to FUG due to their similar goals of eliminating the 10 Great Family heads, which can be deduced from Rachel's apparent active membership in both organizations. And they also seem to be working alongside Head-On due to him supporting Rachel and providing Ghost to her team. It seems that he is either a part of Revolution or is supporting it from the sidelines of the story. And that is all we know about the Jahad Empire. I hope all of you liked this video and want to see more like it. I will always try to bring you the best Tower God content possible. And remember, I will always tell you the truth. And if the truth is not fully explained, I'll give you guys my opinion on the truth. Have a wonderful day. Bye.